Did you know that if you could fix your feelings, it would fix your life? I'm talking about your finances, your friendships, your faith, your fitness, and also your future. Let's talk about it today on part two of Fix Your Feelings, Developing EI in an AI World. We're talking about it today on In the Mix. Let's lock in together on it. One thing I realize is that when you're talking about EI in an AI world, I'm talking about your emotional intelligence. AI, of course, many of us know that being artificial intelligence. And I want to let you know there's nothing artificial about your intelligence at all. Oftentimes, we can see in our life today, we can see in our world, the technology world, that we got smartphones, but still people make dumb decisions. People are crashing out. People are lacking emotional maturity. And here it is, when you're in a place of emotional maturity, you don't fear scarcity. You don't fear scarcity when you're in a place of emotional maturity. And so many people, they can't get their feelings together. Their feelings, they're so stuck in their feelings that they're stuck in the past. They're so stuck in their feelings that they're stuck and they're not even making any moves. They're so stuck in their feelings that they're in a place of insecurity and they lack their identity. And now they close the doors on opportunity. You have to break out of that by just getting your mindset in check, right? Because, everything that you feel is not real. Everything that you feel is not real. I remember I was on an elevator going to an event, and I think I was kind of G'd up from the feet up. I'd like to say so. Had a nice little suit on, shirt, tie, whatever the case may be. And I'm on the elevator, and there's a group of people as I'm walking onto the elevator, and one particular lady says, "Oh, don't you look rather nice?" I said, "Well, y'all look nice as a result. Y'all look nice." Just giving them the compliment back. And that particular lady who told me I look nice, she said to me, she said, "I don't feel like I look nice." And I told her that everything that we feel is not always real. See, a lot of times our feelings are getting in the way, and we're looking at life from a myopic lens. We're looking at life from just a skewed lens to where we see our life as just so scarce, right? We see our life as less than. And that's the first thing I want to tell you. Whatever you feel is not always real. You got to get your feelings in check. You have to now speak life over your own life, right? If you don't get your feelings in check, you're going to always crash out. If you don't get your feelings in check, life is always going to be fleeting. You're going to now be blockading yourself from opportunities that you're called to step into. Now you're going to be destroying relationships and friendships because you're going to say something in a matter of seconds that to a certain degree takes years to recover from. Your words don't have a receipt. Your words don't have a receipt. And so we got to be mindful of what we're saying. We got to be mindful of how we're treating other people. We have to be mindful of the fact of what we need to do to fix our feelings. And so many people, we're using technology, but we forget about ingenuity. We're using technology, but we forget about personal identity. We're using technology, but we forget about emotional maturity. It's where people get on comments and say anything. People crash out on a text message and say anything. People say anything to people's face just because of how they're feeling. How you feel is not always real. You got to get your emotions in check, or you'll sabotage opportunities. You have to get your emotions in check so that you're not living impulsively. but you're living with emotional maturity. And for many people, that's how they're living their life, from a place of a scarcity mindset. They're living their life from a place of being so scarce. And here's what scripture says: a person without self-control is like a city that is broken down and without walls. Number two, you got to build boundaries for you. Too many of us, we're like a city that is broken down without walls. We have no boundaries. We have nothing to protect ourselves. And because we have not fortified ourselves spiritually, because our faith is lacking, because we're only trusting our feelings, and it's our feelings over our faith rather than our faith over our feelings. Now we're like a city that's broken down emotionally, broken down spiritually, broken down psychologically, living our life from a place of heartbreak, limping rather than leaping into our destiny, into our future, into our next level. Why are you broken? What broke you? Who broke you? Have you tapped into, is what I told you in part one, the triggers and the traumas? It's what Dr. Joy DeGroy talked about in her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. She said we carry in our DNA the angst, the animosity, the trauma of what our ancestors have passed on to us. And until we get rid of that ancestral baggage, until we deal with it, until we unpack it, we'll never have any upward mobility. We'll never move into a place to where now we're shifting our life to another level, into another dimension. We'll always be seeing ourselves as lacking, limited, and less than. When you got to now speak life over your life and tell yourself that you're more than a conqueror, you got to build boundaries. You got to build some boundaries in your life, to not be telling everybody yes when you really want to say no. You have to build boundaries that say, you know what, if you're bringing junk, if you're bringing negativity and gossip, and every single time that you connect to me, or every single time that you text me or you call me, it's always about some junk or some mess or some strife or you being in your feelings, all of that, I don't have time for it. Right? Because now you're living a life that's not limited. You're living a life that's not less than. You're living a life that has strength. You're living a life that's willing to say, I am setting up and I'm building boundaries, because boundaries are not for me to be at a place to where I'm now treating other people negatively. Boundaries is for self-preservation. I was talking to somebody the other day, and a friend of mine was telling me, after they had dealt with some loss in their life, they're saying, listen, you got to make sure that you take care of yourself. You can't be pouring from an empty cup. If you don't take care of you, nobody is going to. If you don't build healthy boundaries, everybody's going to run over you. If you don't have any healthy boundaries, you're like a city that's without walls, and you're a hazard to yourself. You're allowing anybody to come into your life. You're allowing anybody to say whatever they want to say. You're allowing anybody to do whatever they want to do. Building boundaries is not about you having an explanation. It's about you having an exclamation to say no. I know my no. I know who to know. And I know who to know. I know who to KNOW. And I know who to NO. Right? It's not about you being nice. It's about you being kind. It's about you saying, you know what? I know the extent of where it is that I can go in my life. I know the extent of what it is that I can handle interpersonally and emotionally and psychologically. I don't want to put myself in that particular place to where I revert back to the past. No, but I now have clarity because I'm answering the call of interpersonal development. EI over AI. Yeah, there's some things with AI that can be helpful, but not to the extent that I become so artificial that I negate emotional maturity. Emotional maturity causes you to lean in to you becoming a better you. Here's what it calls us to move into: a place of interpersonal development. interpersonal development. And for many of us, we can't fix our feelings. And so because we can't fix our feelings, our finances are in shambles. Our finances are in shambles. Our faith is in shambles. Our friendships are in shambles. Our fitness levels in shambles. As a result, our future is in shambles. If you can just fix your feelings and get control of your emotions, just say, no, I'm not going to lash out. Just because people say this doesn't mean I'm going to do that. I am going to take the high road. See, for many people, they live from the whole aspect of when they go low, you go lower. And here's the thing. When you argue with a fool, it's hard to tell who's who. Everything does not need, necessitate, or warrant a response. You have to be willing to not live fleeting. And for many of us, we're living fleeting from our feelings because your feelings got you all the attention that you needed. Your feelings got other people to do what you wanted them to do. Your feelings became a place of a bully pulpit. Your feelings became a place of now control and manipulation. Because you couldn't get it on your own merit, or because certain people couldn't get it on their own merit, now they move into a place of division, control, manipulation. Everybody's not demonic. Some people are just defiant. And you have to define what it is that you are going to deal with, what you are not going to deal with, what you're going to handle, what you're not going to handle, or you're going to be mishandled. Interpersonal development. What are you doing to develop you? What are you doing to now heal the hurt, the psychological pain, the emotional incarceration, how people mishandled you emotionally? And now, because maybe they mishandled you emotionally in your past, you resort to places of control and manipulation because that was the only time that you were able to have power. That was the only time that you were able to move into a place to where you felt as if you had control. But the control is not in controlling other people. The control is in controlling your emotions. Controlling your emotions with family members, people who want to get under your skin. Controlling your emotions with people who call you friend, but they treat you less than that. That's not really a friend. Is you getting the control back with the interpersonal development that says, I'm going to take the time for self-care. I'm going to take the time to read. I'm going to take the time to develop. I'm going to take the time to pour back into myself spiritually and emotionally and psychologically. I'm going to take the time, as you should take the time, to heal the hurting boy, to heal the hurting girl on the inside of you, to reparent yourself, to deal with the negative childhood wounds, the mother wounds, the father wounds, the friendship wounds, the things that didn't work out, the rejection of what it is that you experience. But being able to not be misaligned, but being able to now adjust your mindset to see rejection is redirection. Something better came as a result. When you heal that, you don't allow anybody to now treat you any old type of way. When you heal that, now you move into a place of not just being nice. No, I'm being kind. Being kind. And the kindness is in the self-preservation. The kindness is in doing whatever it is that I need to do so that I can prioritize emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence says, I don't need to respond to this. Emotional intelligence says, I don't need to give everybody a piece of my mind to only be left with just a piece of my mind, but no peace of mind. Emotional intelligence says, I'm not going to entangle myself with this. Emotional intelligence says, I'm not going to surround myself with these type of individuals. Emotional intelligence says, I'm not just going to say everything that I feel. I'm going to compartmentalize my feelings. I'm going to look at it in the reasoning behind why I am feeling this. I'm going to tackle the triggers and the traumas so that I don't hurt other people when I should be in a place to where I'm healing them, to where I'm not bleeding on others that didn't cut me. This is the part of it that caused us to fix our feelings, but also to move into a place of emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. We talk about this and so much more in my amazing Eagles community. And I see you from a transformed state. I see you from a transformed place. Do you see yourself as that? Do you see yourself in that arena, in that environment? And if you do, then you need to get into the most transformative online community that you're going to connect to. And that is the Eagles Academy. I want you to go right now to theeaglesacademy.com. When you get there, tap the enroll now button. Join my community. Become a part of it. We're growing. We're developing. We're striving. We're not surviving. We're thriving. And we're getting strategy, good coaching that I'm giving you, but also in a community that is nestled in interconnectivity to where a win for you is a win for us too. Go right now to theeaglesacademy.com. When you get there, tap the enroll now button, fill out the form. I guarantee you're going to be transformed. I know you're transformed by this conversation. Drop a love donation on Cash App, $Dr. Eddie Ministries, on PayPal, info@EddieConnor.com, and then even on Zelle, EddieConnorJr @gmail.com. Link is in the description of this video. Link is in the chat for how and where to give. I appreciate your support. You giving helps me to give back to my community in a greater way, and I've been doing that each and every single day. You can help me do more by giving today. Hit that thumbs up button on the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Connect with me as well on social media @EddieConnorJr. Put some respect on my name, family. EddieConnorJr. I appreciate your support. Let me know what you thought about the show. Let me know what you think about the show in the comments below. You know I got to go, but I just want you to know it's yours truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand. Yo, brother. And I mean that. From another mother. Family has been fun, but you know a brother got to run. So I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. But I want you, yes, you to remember to keep the faith and believe. It's going to be bigger, better, brighter, peace, and a whole lot of love. Soaring.